Mortgage delinquencies have spiked 128%. Again, folks, we see a lot of news in the media about housing. We have a lot of folks talking about doom and gloom, and they frequently use percentages. So we are going to talk about how it is absolutely accurate to talk about mortgage delinquencies being up 128%. We will give you all the data. We will allow you to go do your own research. On top of that, we are going to talk about helping some friends. Shout out Spencer, shout out Jack. I'm helping these two young men put together perhaps seller finance deals in Las Vegas, and I thought I would give you a rundown of how we're doing that. We will also talk about some earnings. We will talk about President Biden dropping out or withdrawing from the re-election. And we will talk about credit card and auto loans because there is a lot of stuff going on. So first, let's jump into it. You likely came here because you want to understand the real meat behind mortgage delinquencies. A lot of people are talking about them. So let's give you the fact. First and foremost, do your own research. I found the following information on Freddie Mac. I think it's FreddieMac.com. It might be .gov. I didn't know the end of the extension, but you can go find this yourself. So again, mortgage delinquencies are up 128%. Here are the numbers. In Q3 of 2021, right in the depths of the forbearance, of the stimmy checks, of all of that, mortgage delinquencies came in at 1.4%. Now, mortgage rates since that low have gone all the way up to the last quarter of 3.2% in Q1 of 2024. So, folks, if you go from 1.4% to 3.2%, you are now up 128%. That is an accurate statement, but you should ask yourself, compared to what? How am I supposed to know if 3.2% of delinquencies is a problem? Or is it a nothing burger? Well, I have two numbers for you. First and foremost, the long run average pre-pandemic, the average delinquency rate was 3.5%. So our long run historical average is 3.5%. Today, it ticks in again at 3.2%. So in case you're bad at math, that is lower than average. However, I believe you should watch delinquencies. I believe it is a chance that we could be in or near a recession. I believe unemployment, I don't believe, it's a fact, unemployment rate is up. So there is cause for concern and it should be monitored. But to hear the doomers and crash bros talk about mortgage delinquencies being up 128% is somewhere between dishonest and just doom porn. Now let's talk about some other credit quality issues that might be a bigger problem. We're of course going to talk about credit cards and auto loans. So let's go to credit cards first. Same kind of comparison. In 2022, credit card delinquency was at 4.1%. Today, they are at 8.9%. Again, I ask myself, compared to what? Well, the long run historical average for credit card delinquencies is 6.2%. So, a credit card delinquency rate at 8.9 is meaningfully higher than the long run average. There is, without question, problems in the credit card era. All right, how about auto loans? Same thing. Auto loans bottomed out in 2022 at 4.9%. The current peak is 7.9%, but again, you and I should ask ourselves, compared to what? The long run historical average is 7.2%. So again, auto loans are higher than the long run average, but not by the same percentage. You can look at credit quality Long run average is 6.2%. Today, 8.9%. That is meaningfully higher. That is roughly 25% higher, just doing that math quick in my head. So again, we certainly have some problems. So credit cards, auto loans, problem. Mortgages, at least you could say not yet. Why might that be? Well, folks, as we've talked about ad nauseum on this channel, the mortgage industry, the borrowers have one benefit: 30-year fixed rate money. And again, according to Freddie Mac, this is not my data, this is Freddie Mac. Go look it up yourself. Freddie Mac says 92% of mortgages are fixed rate. And as we've talked about for a long time, a lot of people are below 3 and below 4 and below 5%. So what might you and I say if we look at mortgages being below trend, credit cards above, auto loans above? The reality, you may not like it, but the reality is owning an asset, owning the asset, the single family home, allows you to control your monthly expenses. You are not as burdened with rent increases and other inflationary things. So yes, owning assets long term, once again, is proven to be the right thing. So again, I would argue that it's time to watch mortgages. Mortgage delinquencies are up. They are still below trend. I follow and track these things. But again, one last thing on mortgages, just for the crash bros. I have heard crash bros talk about mortgage delinquencies being just like the GFC, the global financial crisis. Again, a quick Google search. This is not hard to debunk these idiots. The high delinquency rate of 2000 and I think it was 2008, might have been 2007. The high for the delinquency rate was 29%. Again, today we are at 3.2%. They are telling you that 3.2% is on par with the GFC, which is factually laughable. The peak was 29%, not 3.2%. So there you go. Just thought I would give you that. All right, let's talk about Biden very quickly dropping out of the race. I do think it is a little bit odd that the announcement appeared to happen on X or Twitter. It looked like a stamped signature. I guess I have some questions. When will President Biden address the nation? I believe the last time this occurred was Lyndon Johnson. Lyndon Johnson, based on some research I did, gave a 40-minute press or statement to the country, basically explaining his rationale behind the decision to drop out or not seek re-election. I'm wondering if there will be any serious challengers. Are they going to do a round robin or some kind of, I'm not sure what they're going to do at the DNC, but is Harris the foregone conclusion, or will there be choices? Next up, will there be a debate? I have long since thought that the second debate would never happen. I saw no benefit to Trump or Biden doing a second debate. I wonder now, will Trump agree to debate a replacement? Part of me thinks no chance that we see another debate. So, but I don't know. We shall see about that. And then, yeah, it's just weird, right? The announcement came on Twitter. Is that weird? That's weird, right? I think that's weird. But anyways, it is what it is. We'll do a couple of earnings real quick. But first, remember, if you are part of our school community, in about 20 minutes or so, I will be going live, calling it Coffee with Zuber. Come talk about anything you want. Ask questions, real estate, economy, training for a marathon, whatever you want. I just want to interact with the school community. We will do it live. You can raise your hand. You can leave comments. Just have a good old time. I will see you there. We will go for about an hour. All right, let's talk about Jack and Spencer, two young men I happen to work with over the last 48 hours. Both of them have found a potential seller finance deal. I want to give you the framework so that you can copy this as well. Okay? Again, I'm not going to go through like specific numbers that they're working on. I want to give you a framework that you can use how I would do this. So in both cases, Jack and Spencer have found expired listings. What is an expired listing? So you sign a contract, it lists for 90 days or 6 months or whatever it is. You get some offers, you decline, you get no offers, whatever it is. Expired listing. Both young men found expired listings. They then reached out to the owners and basically said, would you be interested in perhaps seller financing? So why did both of these offers expire? Well, frankly, it's what I've been telling you, wish pricing. Let's just say, for example, both properties were listed at 500 and they were both worth 400, right? What the buyer's eyes thought is not what the property was worth. And you know this because they got no offers close to that 500 number in this example. So the listings expired. Now both Jack and Spencer reached out to the sellers and said, hey, what if I could give you your 500 number? Again, remember, the market says it's worth 400. The seller wants 500. Both Jack and Spencer said, hey, what if I could give you 500? So again, part of this is the seller is interested in an unrealistic number. Now, in both cases, these properties happen to be owned free and clear. There is no debt on either property. I would look up the data on PropStream. In this case, they asked the owners during the conversation. So the properties are owned free and clear. Next thing I would do is we want to talk to the seller about what they need. So first off, we already know they want a price point, which again, the market says is unrealistic. Now, what am I looking for? I'm looking for, hey, does this seller need cash? Like, hey, I got to have 200 grand. I'm moving to Texas, whatever, right? Do you need cash? Is this an emotional thing? Like, hey, my kids grew up here, yada, yada. What is holding you on that 500 number? And then I would ask, when do they need it? Like, are you do you got to close this week? Are you going to be here a month, 3 months? Like, what is your timeline to get out of this property? So I would learn all I could about the seller. Now I reverse it. Then I go to the seller and say, great. You know what? There is a way I could pay you 500 on this house that is only worth 400. Now, how can I do that? Well, it's going to require you, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, to take back what is called seller financing. You are going to hold a note. That note will be recorded against a first trust deed. You will essentially be my bank. Okay, we would likely talk about that. We talk about tax savings. We talk about all of these things. If you want more details, go to school. There's a 6-hour masterclass on creative financing, talking through all these things. Next up, I would tell the sellers that, great, my intention with buying your property is to own it forever. And I'm going to do that as a landlord. I'm going to own this, and that means I have to cash flow it. Now, I would go into this conversation knowing a couple of things. What is the expected rent? What is the condition? What is the maximum mortgage payment I could make? Now, again, let's just say, for example, the maximum mortgage payment you could make on this house is $1,500. A $1,500 mortgage payment, taxes and PITI, plus reserves, plus this, plus this, plus this. Let's just say all expenses are $2,300. And you could rent it for $3,000. That gives you cash flow of $700 after all reserves, expenses, all of that. And then I would go to the seller. My job is to not only produce cash flow, but I have to get a return on my capital. So given all of this information, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I need to have a mortgage payment of, I forget what number I already said, $1,500. Now, what we need to do is we need to figure out the down payment, and then we need to figure out if at all there is a balloon payment. Sometimes when the sellers are older, maybe I'll put a 10-year balloon, a 15-year balloon. If they're not interested, do a 30-year fully amortized loan. But the whole idea of this is to give the seller what they want, and for you to get a payment you want. Now, the magic in all of this discussion that is 100% above board is you will get a below market interest rate. Now, when we have that conversation, I would basically tell the seller that, hey, I want to give you yesterday's price, but in order for me to give you yesterday's price, which again is 500 in a 400 market, I need you to give me yesterday's interest rate. Now, again, that's a very quick conversation or a quick rundown of what I would do to try to produce cash flow, produce a great deal. Seller financing is the way. Both of these guys found deals in Vegas from expired listings. It is possible. I have no idea if these deals will go anywhere. It is a numbers game. You will likely have to find 10, 20 of these sellers before you can get somebody to say a yes answer. But it is possible. It is worth it. You can find great deals in all markets. Again, one of the tools that I use for this is PropStream. You could go on my channel here, one rental at a time, just type in PropStream. Lots of hand holding, lots of demos, and even a discount code if you want to give them a trial. So enjoy that. So hopefully that was good. Close out with a couple of earnings. We got Verizon. Verizon released some earnings this morning, basically saying what you and I know, the consumer is pulling back. Yes, folks, we are not upgrading our cell phones as often. Congratulations. Save that money. You don't need that. You can go a few versions without upgrading. And then something that really caught my attention is Rainier. It's a European airline. They saw profit decline 46% right as capacity surges. So what is very likely, at least over in Europe, if not the US, price wars. We are going to see price wars. If you ever wanted to travel here in the last year or so, it looks like airfare is going to get cheaper and cheaper. We will know more about that soon. I think American Airlines, Southwest, and I think Delta all report this week, so we'll see what's what. Again, folks, let's congratulate somebody for getting their next deal. Shadrach, congratulations for getting your next deal. Your card will be in the mail. If you don't know what this is something we do at one rental at a time to congratulate you, the audience, for doing the work. You can collect as many black cards as you want for every deal you get. I do have a golden ticket for your first deal. So if you have those, that would be good. So again, folks, do me a favor, join school, $20 a month. Also, did you know that on Friday, we released episode 3 of Buying Vegas? Yes, folks, episode 3 has launched. Episode 4 is scheduled for Friday at 6, where we look at a brand new asset type. Yes, folks, on Friday, we're going to look at a new asset type that I have no history, no experience with. But hey, it might be the answer to cash flow in Vegas. Well, we're going to see what we see. Folks, have a great day. If you're in school, I'll be there in about 10 minutes. Later.